In today's video, I'm going to break down exactly how this company is consistently hitting $1+ million every single month in the low season. And let's not even talk about Q4, okay? So they do multiple millions of dollars in Q4, but in the low season, they typically hit 1 million or more every single month. Now, in this video, I want to break down the differences, the major differences between how this business is built, okay? Exactly from A to Z, the principles, the frameworks, the infrastructure, and compare it to typically a six and a low seven-figure e-commerce brand. Because I see that there's always a big discrepancy between these two types of businesses, right? And so I'm going to break down exactly how this company is actually got to the multiple eight-figure mark and exactly how. Okay, so that you can replicate these same exact frameworks to your own business. Now, let me just refresh so you know this is real. They were doing, the company, the brand that we're working with, they did $1 million. I think they reached over $1 million a day in sales just in Black Friday alone. And of course, to get to those points, you also need to be you need to have a very organized creative foundation. But other than the creatives and all that stuff, you need to have a brand, okay? And so actually create a brand, okay? Which is one of the principles that we can discuss in today's video. Okay, let's go and talk about some frameworks that are really important, okay? Let me just switch off into a different screen. As you can see over here, I have many different things to show you. I did differentiate. I typically do diagrams and sometimes they're similar. However, in this video, I thought of just kind of like repurposing my concepts, and I know that there's a lot of points. As you can see, it's a pretty long diagram, but they're really important points. I'm not going to talk about 25 different things. I'm going to talk about 3 to 4 really fundamental aspects that I've seen over the years that make the major impact to get really from 7 to at least 8 figures per year. Okay, and by the way, make sure to stick until the end, or at least between the middle of the video, middle to the end, because there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff and to show you. I'm also going to give you something away for free, completely for free, so make sure to stick until the end to actually get access to that. Okay, so let's get into the video. The first and most important thing, and please, if you're doing something, just stop what you're doing and listen, because this is one of the most important aspects, and I'm going to talk about it right now. I do touch base on this quite often, but I contextualized it in a different visual way with these new diagrams so you can understand it in a better way. So every single product, whether we like it or not, they tend to have a market cap. Okay, whether that's from a product, whether that's from something else, whether because it's a market condition, right? They tend to have market maximum caps. Maybe your market cap is going to be different compared to your competitor, right? Maybe it's because of other reasons. Maybe they got earlier into the market, so they got the majority stake into the market, right? So your market cap may be different compared to somebody else's, but everybody is gonna reach their limit. Which this is why, if we don't pull other levers, and which are the levers that I'm gonna talk about in this video, typically what ends up happening is that we maybe get to like 300K a month, and then as soon as we increase ad spend, as soon as we do this, as soon as we do that, nothing happens. The business typically tends to tank down just because we're focusing on that one product, right? And once again, because it's a market condition, because people get tired of the product, because you're not improving the product, because it's the product and it's the market reason, whatever that reason is, product market fit, for whatever reason, you're capped at a maximum. And so this is typically what happens to seven-figure businesses, that they find that product, that offer, that thing, it works for them, maybe for a year, maybe even for 2, who knows, maybe for 3 months, who knows, every time it's different. But this is all they have. As soon as this is gone, or as soon as they decide just to keep doing what they're doing without really improving the product or changing things or adding additional products to the suite or their website or their brand, then it typically tanks, and then they give up and they just start doing something else. And that's typically why brands fail within 5 years, like brands, businesses in general, right? They just close down because of all these reasons. And so what I recommend doing, and what these brands are doing, especially these clients, is that they're introducing different suites of products by category, by vertical, of course, within the same industry. We don't have to sell baby products if we're selling clothing or phone cases, right? It has to be within the same realm, right? But we're adding and stacking and improving products, right? And so what ends up happening is that we're adding layers and buckets of cash flow, right? And we're making the business a lot more consistent, right? Which is what we need to scale. We need predictability. We can't just scale with one thing, okay? So if you think that you're going to sell, unless you're selling like a recurring, even if you're selling recurring products where people come back and buy more, I still 100% recommend to go through the horizontal scaling, product scaling route. Okay, as I say here, each market and vertical eventually has maximums depending on your unique situation. You'll notice that the product you're trying to scale can only scale so much. It might be different for your competitor, but everyone reaches a maximum scale for their main product. Okay, so this is an observation that I've been making for the last 7 years. It's been like this for and didn't change. If it changes, I'll let you know. Next thing is marketing angle maximums. Just like products have a maximum, a ceiling, let's call it, even angles have a ceiling. What is an angle? An angle is how you promote your product. Let me show you, for example. We like to use this tool. Let me just show you here as well. I was going to say I like to use this tool where basically it tells you what ad angles, like just say TriCupid. TriCupid is an amazing 8-figure brand. I really like what they're doing, so I funnel hack them. I use a tool called Atria, right? And it tells me literally what ad angles they're using. So they sell perfume, so increased attraction, spicing up romance, enhanced romantic moments, instant attraction, right? So all these are like slightly different angles that they approach the market with. Okay. And so, just so you understand, this is to say we're selling a product that helps with remove remove double chin. You know those that the vibrating facial sculptor that you've seen all over the internet that is basically for gua sha and to make your jaw look younger and better. So let's just say that product alone we can go through that product and market with that product to the market in different ways. So you can solve the double chin, right? You can say, hey, this is helps you with an instant lift, right? It reverses your aging. You can have a snack jawline. It's like a spa treatment at home. You save instead of spending $1,000 on a spa treatment. You can save because it's a $100 device. It helps with turkey neck over here. This other part of the neck of the face. Like you could. These are all different women types. Okay, and maybe the turkey night is maybe going to be the 60-year-old, and the instant lift before night outs is going to be the 25-year-old. So you can dissect different types of avatar customers based on the angle. And then what we try to do is, I'm going to talk about creative concepts later, but this is the foundational principle that I'm talking about. And just like products, angles have the same exact position. And so the least thing that we can do, and this you have to do this, okay, you have to do this, is expand into marketing angles to recreate, just like products, recreate different buckets. Right? This is really, really important. If you don't know what angles to choose from, do your market research. I'm going to talk about market research in just a second here. Okay, really, really important aspect of making this happen in the first place, because if you don't do your market research, you have no idea what angles to come up with. And part of our market research is actually using tools like TriCupids, like Atria, to funnel hack companies like TriCupids, that's what I meant, and take a look at what they're doing with their headlines, their landing pages, right? The personas that they're targeting. Right, these are landing pages so that we can funnel like their offers and everything, right? We need to see and understand exactly what they're doing, and also, of course, from a creative perspective, we can funnel hack all of their ads. So I'm going to talk about these things later, but you get the point. Same thing needs to happen, same exact thing with creative concepts. Okay, let me show you, and let me bring you through this diagram very quickly. We have a product. We're selling the product with different angles. We're smart enough now, we understand that we need to expand our product as much as possible. We need to scale horizontally with angles, right? As the examples that I shared before, right? And so once we maximize angles and scale horizontally with angles, amazing, you're doing a great job, but there's always going to be that gray area, which I like to call, which is basically the additional or the potential extra revenue that you could be generating if you not only test a different angle, but also expand into the different creative concepts. Okay, so just like as I say here, these gray areas represent the potential lost revenue per angle due to insufficient creative concept testing. Okay, as I say over here, 8 and 9-figure brands maximize their angles by testing as many creative concepts variation as possible. And here's an example, right? Here's just an example. A POV is a creative concept. An us versus them is a creative concept. ASMR video, the one where they do like this with the nails and they enhance the sound or whatever. Image grid, text overlay, Google search ad, statistic, trending TikTok video, reaction, comment overload. All of these are creative concepts that allow you to scale even, let's scale vertically, scale even more vertically within each angle. But the thing is this, if you can implement this creative concept testing to angle one, and let's just say it's not booming, but it's adding an extra 20K a month or 30K a month, nothing crazy, but it's going to stack up over time, first of all, and over angles. So it's going to stack up vertically, and it's also going to stack up horizontally. So imagine if you do this for all the angles that you're testing, and imagine if you're eventually testing like 10, 12 angles that are resonating with the market. This adds up. Now, if you want, these are basically some examples of creative concepts. You have like 30, 40. If you want access to this, just there's a link down below to the command center, which is basically the exact same sheet that has all of these things that we create for all of our clients to track everything, document everything, the competitors, an ROI calculator, a daily report, including a creative concept sheet, which is this one over here, which I'll explain, and then a bunch of other sheets that are like really, really detrimental to allow scale to happen and while being organized. And these are the exact things that actually increase the perceived value of a brand. Every single brand that I speak to that is doing 7 figures is not doing this. They're not documenting. They're not tracking. They're not using systematic sheets. They're not SOPing their team. They're just doing things, hoping that someday something sticks on the wall. And that's not how you should operate your business, okay? It's not how you should do it. And so angles, we talked about angles. Creative concepts, we talked about creative concepts. Get access to this sheet right now because we give you also inspirational links so you know exactly what these concepts look like, okay? And then we also stack and scale even further with different hooks. We have a sheet called 600 plus winning hooks. We give you the framework, we give you an example, we tell you what type of hook it is, and it's like we use this every single time. This is the foundation of our research. Over here, this is our research. This allows us to plan 3 to 6 months ahead of content ideas. And let me explain exactly how we do that because it's the next step. Before we do that, this is overall a diagram that I shared in all my other videos, really, really important. I talked about scaling angles. I talked about scaling horizontally with creative concepts. You should do the same thing. I talked about with products, right? The 3 things that I just spoke about over here on the top. But you should do the same thing with offers, testing different offers, different markets, different personas, right? This is what gets you to $1 million a month, at least, right? This is what gets you to $1 million a month, okay? So imagine you're doing 300, 400, 500K a month right now, and you're not doing these things. Do you think that doing these things will at least get you much closer to the 8-figure mark? The answer is 100% yes. If you don't believe that, get away from this video. Okay, just kidding. Stay on. Now, next thing that I want to talk about over here, very, 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 very important. It's mastering levels of prioritization. If you're not a master prioritizer, if you don't know how to prioritize your time, resource, team, right, money, investments, then it's going to be a big problem for you. So typically, to keep it, I'm not going to rant 3 hours about this, but I'm going to keep it very, very simple. We like to distribute our time into 80%, 20%, the old traditional 80%, 20% rule. Very, very simple. 80% of our time goes towards scaling winning campaigns, winning marketing angles, winning creative concepts, profitable scripts, winning hooks, B-rolls, winning UGC creators. We do more of what is working because if we don't, the business becomes unprofitable and it would be stupid of us to do that. Now, this is where most people get stuck. They don't have a systematic way of distributing their time, resources, everything that I said before. And so they're like, oh, what should I do now? Should I do this? Should I do that? Everything needs to be systematized. And so 20% of our time goes towards testing new ideas, new viral trends, new creative concepts, new script ideas. Now, is this just a random number? This is a systematic number, meaning if we do 5 tests, right, at least one is going to be a completely new test, right? If we do 4, at least one is going to be a completely new test, right? And then the 3 that we're testing for the week or for the next couple of days, whatever that is going to be winners. Example of a winner. You keep the same script, right? Same B-roll, and you're just changing the hook. That's an example of distributing and putting your time into something that is working with a slight variation so that you, of course, you can't just copy and paste ads, duplicate them, right? You have to innovate them, iterate them. Iteration is one of the highest level things that most 8 and 9-figure brands achieve and do. They know how to iterate. They know how to transform 10 ads, right? They paid for 10 pieces of content. Now they know how to generate 100, 200 from them because they know how to iterate, okay? That's another conversation for another time. The next thing that I want to talk about, which allows all of this to happen in the first place, right? All of this is creative analysis. You need to be able to understand what is working and what is not working. We actually also have another sheet over here called Creative Testing Tracker, which is basically every single row that we add on the sheet. Let me zoom in a little bit, is a creative test. Okay, so let's just say we test number 1. Okay, we go in here, we say, okay, this, first of all, what are we promoting? When did we launch it? What month of the year did we launch it in? Just because the more data we have and the more graphical representations we can create on the back end. I'll show you that in just a second. What creative concept that we use, marketing angle, what main emotion that we use, what avatar that we use, hook, messaging, copy, creative link. These are blank because it's a demo, okay? Demo command center. This is why you can get a copy. Go get it right now. And then we record also spend, ROAS, CTR, cost per click, conversion rate, AOV, CPM, so that we have we can make a calculated, not random, calculated decision on how the performance of this creative concept, angle, test in general was. And then we can make future learnings, notes, and come up with next steps, because that's the most detrimental thing that allows you to get results in the first place. If you don't know what's working, if you don't have a diagram like this, a sheet that tracks these things, then you don't know, you literally do not know what it's working. You can't just make decisions based on what you think is going to work, or what your gut feeling was about that creative. You need to make them based on results. And so the reason that why you see all of these like crazy numbers and diagrams over here, because this is a feature from Ultra which you can use yourself. And this is really important because it allows you to track. Yes, I mean, it connects your ad accounts with your business, right? And so it gives you a dashboard, just like, kind of like any reporting tool like True Profit or Triple Whale. It gives you a very easy to understand a dashboard. But with AI, and also because you're connecting your ad account with them, it gives you a bunch of other things. You see how you can have on Ultra, you can funnel out competitors, and you can see their headlines, you can see distributions of videos and images, you can filter by longest running ads, most recent, emotions, desires. You can do the same exact thing if you plug and play your business to Ultra. And so it gives you a breakdown by spend, by ROAS, by age, gender, platform, by the themes that are working well. And these, of course, are the winning themes, ad angles, emotions. And then, of course, you can filter by ads, creatives, the top spenders, right? And also you can filter by ROAS, so you know exactly what is working. You can filter by ROAS from hooks, creatives, images, videos, hooks, as I said before, video hooks, copies, headlines, landing pages. Even by landing pages, you can filter by ROAS, by landing page, right? Which is really, really hard to do on the ad account. Like, you would go crazy if you want to do that on the ad account. So this gives us a very systematized way to track and filter things by ROAS and by headline copy, all the different elements of it that make an ad profitable and working in the first place, okay? So hopefully this makes sense. Sign up for them. You don't have to use my link. I don't care. I'm just trying to share value here. Or you can also just use my sheet, which requires a bit more manual inputs, right? But it really is it's a great learning process. So as soon as you launch it in the ad account, you should have a row, which takes, like, honestly, it takes like 3 minutes to complete. Marketing angle, main emotion, avatar. It's like 5 extra minutes, but it gives you so much extra data. And then you can maybe have a VA record data every couple of days, go in here, and then at the end of the 7 days, 14-day test, whatever you're doing, then you can come up with conclusions and create all your learnings here. And then these are graphical representations that you can create with all the data that you have over here, right? We have like a win rate proportion. So 11, in this case, like almost 12% of our ads are winners. If we launch 10 ads, one is going to be a winner. That is scalable. It's typically good. We want to be between 10 and 15% at least. And so, you can create so many different graphical representations. And then, of course, you can use Ultra, which is an amazing tool. Now, this is super, super important. Why did I talk about these things before talking about other things like research and, other thing, creatives that I'm going to talk about later? Is because these set the foundation. Scaling horizontally, understanding what makes an 8-figure business or a 9-figure business an 8 or a 9-figure business, how they're able to get there. Right? On the levels of prioritization, you need to learn how to prioritize your time and resources. They do that, okay? This client that we're working with and other clients that do 8 figures, whatever, past clients, future clients, all of them, 8, 9 figures, they think like this. And they all have very specific tools to track their performance. And if they don't, we add it in their suite. And typically, if they don't, it's because they're doing 7 figures. I'm not sure why, it's just how it is, okay? Typically, like 90, 80, 90% of the time. Okay, let's talk about market research and creative planning. Why is this important? It's because if you don't do market research and constant competitor research as well, and creative planning, you cannot use these tools. You cannot use a creative analysis because you have nothing to test. You cannot scale horizontally with your angles and your creative concepts because you don't know what to do, right? So before we come up with all of this infrastructure that I just explained, it's important that we have a very systematic way of doing consistent product market awareness, competitor research, and creative planning, okay? Let me explain what we do. So we do a lot of different things whenever we onboard a client, and that is to set the foundations. Let me explain what I mean by that. Let me start from the bottom. What we end up doing and receiving and having after we do all of this research, which I'm going to explain in just a second, is that we have this sheet, which is essentially the sheet that I showed you over here. We fill it up. This is typically blank. We fill it up. And so why do we fill it up? We fill it up with the angles that we want to promote, typically around 7 to 10 angles that we want to test, a bunch of different creative concepts that we want to test, and then a bunch of hooks. How did we come up with all of this? We didn't just like wake up and say, hey, I think this is going to work. We did a bunch of competitor research, a lot of different things I'm going to talk about here, like this customer mining research that we did, which basically breaks down everything and how customers think, what they like, what they dislike, so that we can then come up with conclusions with like, hey, I think we should test this angle number 135 and combine it with these 19 or 20 creative concepts because of XYZ reasons, because the competitor, our direct competitor, is doing the same thing and it's working for them, and then we want to test it for us, right? Same thing happens with hooks, and this is where we use our own 600 plus hook framework to come up with really like cool winning hooks. These are, by the way, they're all winning hooks. We just have to reframe them within our industry or vertical or niche, right? And so we come up with we find a lot of winning hooks with this document. It's like never ending. It's like 600 hooks, but they're all winners and they explain the framework. So use it. It's within this sheet. Really, really important. So what do we do? What type of research do we do? So first of all, we do this customer mining research. We use a tool called Chat GPT for Amazon with GPT-4 Schulix Copilot, which is basically a tool that gives you this. You log in into Amazon, or you go into Amazon and you search your best direct competitor. Let's just say we're selling supplements with this burn that solved this problem that has XYZ ingredient. Is like very, very similar to our product, if not the same. And so we go under ratings, and then instead of just going through all these ratings and reading them yourself, which by the way I still advise you to do because it's good for you, but instead of just analyzing and coming up with graphical representations of how these how these customers are rating the product, we use Copilot Schulix, which basically gives you something like this: who, when, where, what, right? Gentle on skin, effective, versatile, hygienic, like the topics, the pros, the cons of the reasons, the cons of the product, right? Why people say it's a con, what is the percentage, and then basically we can come up, then we can transform the document into like a Google Docs, just like this one, and then we can say, okay, what's good, what needs to be improved. 43% of people say that it's smooth and hydrating skin, meaning the product helps them with that. And then we can say purchase motivations, desired outcomes, and with the percentage breakdown, so we understand the levels, and who, when, where, what, where, usage, rights, whatever, all that stuff. And then we can also come up with other ad angles and concepts thanks to this research. So this sets the foundation for the research. Then we start doing competitor research and trend research. Okay, if you can leverage trends, right, your ROI will go through the roof. If it's a winning ad and you leverage a trend and it's a winning ad, good luck. You're going to start seeing the ROAS go up and you can scale. So this is exactly what we do and exactly why all of my other videos, if you go and take a look, the last 10, 20, 30, 100 videos are all on Autrio, because I want you to see how we do our own competitor research, which is the same exact motivator that allows us to get results in the first place, right? We're not just geniuses. We're just very smart at looking at what is working right now in the market. And that's why I always filter by longest running ads or most recent and by active, right? So we can take a look at the creatives that are profitable and working right now. And guess what you can do with this tool? You can actually go in and take a look and transcribe the video, the script. Take a look at how long, look, this ad has been running for 175 days. You think it's profitable? Of course it is. Of course it is. It's like 6 months, whatever that is, almost 6 months. It's profitable. And so what we understand from this video is that interviews maybe work for them. And assuming I'm funnel hacking them, I'm basically assuming that if I funnel hack this company that's selling perfumes, I'm selling a very similar product in the very, very similar vertical, so I can get inspiration from something that a direct competitor is doing that is working for them, right? Hopefully you get the point. So then you can just take a look at the ad and get inspirations, and you can send it to your team, and blah, blah, blah. The rest is history. And so this is what we do. And so these are the types of things that we try to gather for information. And this is something we do every single week for all of our clients. There isn't a week that we don't do this for our clients, because we need to keep up with the trends, okay? Winning ads, that's again. Winning landing pages, which also gives us a good understanding of offers, right? And so what you can do over here is that you can go into landing pages. You can take a look at, hey, they're doing this product, or okay, they're doing advertorials. Great to know. We want to do advertorials too now. Let's take a look, improve it. What offers are they running? 50% off. How is their landing page structure? We take a look at this entire process, okay? Then we do a persona analysis, which is something that looks like this. Let me show you right now. You go into personas, and then we understand, okay, they're romance seeker. Ages 25 to 45, appreciates thoughtful gestures and seeks romantic experiences, right? So this is one persona that is different from the self-esteem seeker or the romantic partner focus or masculinity focus, completely different, right? From the romantic seeker, right? Who knows? And so we basically study exactly what personas they are targeting, why it's working for them, and then we come up with our own motivations. We also study the distribution of ads, videos, images. This tool is amazing. And then of course the full funnel breakdown offers CRO audit, everything, which allows us overall at the end to come up with the right angles to test and start with the creative concepts with inspo links. These are all inspirational links from our direct competitors, and then a bunch of hooks based on the competitor analysis that we did that we want to start off with. Why is this important? This is a 3 to 6 month plan. Okay, think for me for just a second. If I do research and then the next week I do the implementation, and then I go back to the drawing board, and then I go back to the implementation board, back to the drawing, I'm gonna go crazy. So the least thing that I can do to make my life easier is do all the research up front, so that we can, the next 3 to 6 months are gonna be an action plan and iterating what is working. Right, it's just gonna be purely a done for you process. Like, we know what we're doing. We did the research before, it's working, now let's implement, let's take action. This is why we do it, and every single time, this is typically a research that takes us 7 days, which we never stop doing, but at least we have a very strong foundation for when we onboard clients, where it's like, hey, this is the plan for the next 3 to 6 months. Let's just now take action on it. We agree with it with the client. We both approve it, and then we move on. Okay. So this is really, really important. Now, one other thing before I move on, I hope this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. By the way, if you want your brand to be audited and you're doing at least $100,000 a month, click the link down below, book in a call. You can have a call with me or one of my team members, and then we'll break down and have a conversation if it's a fit to work together. If we see an opportunity to work together, of course. If we see an opportunity to increase your results, or else it doesn't make sense to work together. And then we can go from there, book in a call if you want. Now, moving forward to the video, all of these companies do 8 figures, 9 figures, whatever. They all have a very simple ad account structure. There never has been a situation where I went into a multi 8-figure business and I've seen a complex ad account structure. They're all simple, and if it looks complex, it's because they're scaling with different campaigns based on this infrastructure that I'm going to explain, which I spoke about in my other videos as well. The way that they typically scale is that they have one product or one campaign per product or collection, typically. Okay, collection or product. So if you have 5 collections, you want 5 different campaigns. If you have 5 different products in general, you want 5 different campaigns. And the only focus is basically, the majority of their focus is a creative focus. So 90% creative, 10% ad account tweaking and doing stuff. In fact, good luck to the media buyers, because the media buyers in 2025, 2026, definitely in 2030, they're probably not even going to exist. It's just going to be creative agencies and being good at doing marketing. Okay, that's just the reality of the things. If you are a media buyer looking at this video, I'm sorry. Okay, truly sorry. But this is the foundation. The ad sets we scale horizontally. You should see, like, you flip it horizontally with ad angles, creative concepts, which is essentially an ad set, right? Each ad set, just like we go over here, just go back into the creative testing tracker. All of these things are creative or tests, which are basically ad sets. And then of course we record all the data over here, but all of these are ad sets. And so if we want to test a different creative concept or a different angle, we scale it. We don't create a new campaign. We don't confuse the ad account. We just stack it with a new ad set. That's essentially how it works. And then we scale typically with D2C. D2C is a terminology that used to exist. Now it's called flexible ads, but it's essentially you putting and giving 3 ad copies, 3 headlines, and 3 images or videos, and then Facebook or Meta decides what to mix and match to make the ad profitable. Okay, this is how we do it. Hopefully this makes sense. And the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is that these brands have omnipresence. Like they're in Meta, they're in TikTok, they're in Amazon. And it doesn't mean that if you're doing like 300K a month, 100K a month, 400K a month, 700K a month, and you want to get to that next level, this is what you should start doing. Start taking advantage of low-hanging fruit. We have a client that was spending 150K a month on Meta, and they never did TikTok. One client also was like, we saw, because of our market research, we saw an opportunity on Bing ads, whoever runs Bing ads, and we were able to like spend 15K with a very, very high ROI. And so like try to do also things that maybe not your competitors are not really doing too much, so that it's untapped. So long story short, this client was spending 150K. They were not doing TikTok. We tried Pinterest, didn't really work, but TikTok, we were able to spend an extra 15 to 16K per month with a 3 to 4x ROAS, because all of that traffic was being retargeted. It was basically purely adding an extra 10% of budget just because of retargeting. Okay, they're just not doing enough retargeting. So that was very, very useful for them. And you can do the math. It added an extra maybe like 70K a month just by doing that. And so these are things that, you know, they stack up when you do them at scale. And so the overall goal is to have one main, let's just say maybe it's Meta, one main channel for acquisition, right? And then once they're into the funnel, we don't want them to go out. And that's where we have to be very creative with, you know, SMS, Pinterest, Google, email, definitely Amazon. Amazon is a huge winner. All the brands that are making it are on Amazon automatically. Even if they don't have like a huge presence on Amazon, having even a slightly of a small presence on Amazon is going to help them increase conversion rate on their Shopify store. Okay, because what happens is that you see an ad, you then go on Google and you search, you know, brand reviews. Let's actually do an example with Cupid's, right? Cupid's fragrance. Let's just see. This is like, it happens 10-20% of the times, if not more, 30% of the times with your with anybody who runs ads. So you go over here, you see Trustpilot. Being on Trustpilot is really important. They're on Amazon. If you're on Amazon, automatically you're gonna have more trust as a brand and more authority, because everybody knows that brands that are on Amazon are vetted. They're just not any random brand. They're actually vetted. You need to go through a process to be approved. Okay, everybody knows that. Everybody trusts Amazon. So if you're on Amazon, even if you don't have like 1,000 ratings, you maybe have like 4, 5, 10 reviews, at least you're on Amazon and you have that foundation. So being in other places as well helps you scale a lot more aggressively. And I know that maybe it's not something that you want to do, but if you want to get to the multiple 8-figure mark and really establish your brand authority, then these are things that you really have to start doing. Okay, that's it for this video. I know that it was a bit longer than usual, but I did take some time to do these kind of like new / you know, semi-new diagrams, especially these ones on the top, to really break down what I've seen you know, what I've seen 8 and 9-figure e-commerce brands build. This is where they're focusing their time on. This is how they're growing their business and why it actually got to the 8-figure mark in the first place. Okay, they're thinking in these terms. Okay, that's it for this video. I know that I spoke about a lot in this video. Let me know if you have any questions about this video. Use Autrio, scale horizontally, implement the concepts that I speak about in this video. I promise, like this, I'm not doing these videos for an ego. I'm just documenting what is working. I want to help as many people as possible. And then if other people want me to do it, or my team to do it for them, then they can book in a call, right? Which brings me to my last point. Once again, if you want access to this demo sheet, there's a link down below. And if you're a brand doing 100K a month and you want a free audit and you want to explore the opportunity of having a growth partner without having to give up any equity in your business, okay, just to make that clear, for your business to get to the next level, just book in a call and then we can have a conversation from there and we can go from there. Okay, that's it for this video, and hopefully see you on the call and definitely see you in the next YouTube video. All right.